Hello, I'm here today with Wanda Briscoe, and she's actually our first featured body lover on See Body Love Self, and I'm so excited about that. So I'm here to talk to her a little bit about her body journey and just to learn more about her writing as an author. And she has an amazing story of how she has triumphed over challenges in her life. So welcome, Wanda.
Thank you.
So glad to have you here. First of all, just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Um,
So tell us about your book. You said you're an author and you've written one book so far. Tell us about a little bit more about your book.
my book is called The Fight Within. It's about my journey in battling breast cancer. I was diagnosed in January of 2011. The book is an inspirational book. It's about my journey in dealing with the emotional, the physical, and the spiritual aspect of going through breast cancer. There is so much more that women go through than just the medical side. It's a daily struggle on your emotions, your thoughts, your support group. All of that is very, very important when you're battling breast cancer.
And so you said you were diagnosed with breast cancer in 2011. Can you tell us just about that day, that moment when you were diagnosed and what you were feeling at that time?
Wow. It's a phone call that I will never, ever forget.
Hmm.
I have been getting my mammogram since I turned 40. And I got my mammogram in November 2010 and didn't have, just went in and didn't think any more about it. Then my doctor called back and said that I needed to retake it. I went and I retook the mammogram. Then she called again and said we need to do a biopsy. The tissues don't look right. So I ended up having two biopsies. And I never forget, after the second biopsy, she said, well, we'll just call within a week with your results. But actually, they called several days later, and my doctor personally called me with results, which I thought was odd because I thought an assistant would call me with the results. And she said it was January 19th, 2011 at 9:57 a.m. I see it clearly. And she said, Wanda, are you alone? And I'm like, why is she asking me that? And I said yes, and she said the tissues came back and they said that you have breast cancer. It was like I heard her, but I didn't hear her. And I said, I have what? And she said, you have breast cancer. And it was at that point when she repeated that I had breast cancer, it was like someone had punched me in the stomach. It was like a train wreck, or it was a feeling that I don't wish on anyone, because immediately you start thinking about death.
Right.
I think everyone, when you hear the big C word, that's probably the first thing that comes to mind. But I knew from that point that when she said I was diagnosed, that I was not going to wallow in pity, that I was going to fight this disease. I knew nothing about breast cancer, but I knew I had to educate myself and that I was going to beat this disease. I was not going to let this disease overtake me.
I love that you said that you became proactive, and as soon as you found out about the breast cancer diagnosis, you didn't decide to wallow in it. You immediately made a conscious decision that you were going to fight, basically, for your life. And I think that is a pivotal moment, because when it comes to our bodies, we are very much in control.
Yes.
With what happens. It doesn't happen by our thoughts, by what we accept, by what we intake in our spirit and in our minds. And so by you deciding at that moment, hey, I'm going to fight this, I'm not going to just lay down and take it, I think that was probably pivotal in the rest of your journey. So
Yes.
tell us about what happened from there after you decided to fight. You decided you were going to do your best. What happened next?
After I decided to fight, I set up appointments with the breast surgeon that my doctor referred me to. My parents drove up from Maryland, so they were with me from the beginning, from meeting with the doctors, and my doctor was very good. He explained everything to us in layman's terms, because this was new to us. No one in my family had been diagnosed with breast cancer, so we needed all the information. Where did it come from? What are the surgeries? What stage was I in? What do we do now? What's the recovery process? What are your treatments? So we got all of that information to make a conscientious decision on what my next step was. So after I had the surgery, I started writing down my thoughts in a journal that one of my friends from Maryland sent to me, which I thought was very helpful, because your mind is racing. You have all of these thoughts on, am I going to survive a surgery? Am I going to die? And different things. So I just started keeping a journal. And from that journal, I started giving breast cancer speeches. And after my third breast cancer speech, it was at my dad's church in Maryland, the minister, at the end of the service, he said, "Wanda, when is your book coming out?" And I laughed, because it was just my thoughts in my journal. I didn't know anything about a book. And less than a year later, my book was released, and it all came from my journey, from my journal.
Wow, that's just like an amazing journey. Starting with the decision that you were going to be proactive in what was going on with your body, and then journaling your process, and then using your story to write a book. And so now you are using that book to empower and inspire other women who are going through breast cancer. Tell us what else you're doing as far as being a part of the breast cancer awareness movement.